to Steel City Live here on Mike Drop Sports. I'm Jason, and this is our daily live stream. As you all know, make sure you hit the shit out of that like button for us here as we get moving here. Sorry, I was eating dinner yet again. I've been running up against the clock here a little bit each day. Sorry, but I try to be really punctual, man. I try not to be, yeah, not on time. I hate it. It drives me absolutely bonkers when people are late. So I try not to be. So this has been a little out of character for me. But we're here. What's up, Sean, George, TD? What's up, everybody? I appreciate that, TD, saying Steel City Live rocks. I appreciate the shit out of that, man. Thank you. We're going to talk about the Steelers headlines of the day. Definitely want to dive into that. I've seen several. Steelers urged to sign a Super Bowl winning defensive lineman. Offensive line expert stresses the Steelers. Zach Frazier is a top 10 center as a rookie. People may be catching on to what old Mike Drop was putting down, talking about, hey, I think this guy might be the best center in this draft, the most experienced center in this draft. So we'll see what people were saying there. Also, there was a couple other ones too, guys, that I wanted to check out, but I gotta find them. But yeah, definitely a lot going on in terms of just headlines, people creating headlines, things of that nature. So I definitely want to dive into all of that stuff here. Just setting my computer up as we're sitting here chatting. So as always, make sure you put your comments, questions, and concerns inside of the chat here for us. If there's anything you want to talk about. But again, I saw a lot of those headlines today, and I just thought that, hey, right before we dive into the 4th of July holiday tomorrow, why not dive into some Steelers rumors, headlines, things of that nature? Well, I guess they're not rumors, just more what people are kind of saying. Yeah, bold predictions. NFL All-Pro makes bold prediction about Steelers Russell Wilson. These are from certain articles. That one was behind Steel Curtain, was put that one out. Sports Illustrated column was talking about the Steelers urge to sign that Super Bowl winner. And I believe that was from Noah. Yeah, that was on Noah Strackbine from All Steelers Talk. So this article he had put out talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers signing Dean Lowry, and doing things of that nature, trying to bolster that off our defensive line, that defensive front. So, yes, people were trying to say, hey, maybe they should go out there and sign a guy from the New England Patriots, that's 34 years old, Lawrence Guy, to maybe add some of that depth to that Steelers defensive line with the concerns maybe of Cam Hayward's health, also Cam Hayward's contracts. That was another headline that I had saw, something about his contract and things of that nature. So I want to find that article and talk about it also. What's up, Tom Ford? How are you, buddy? Sean, what's your favorite Steelers uniform? I always like the Color Rush. Yeah, Color Rushes are cool, man. I'm down for that. I don't like those Killer Bee ones. I hate that shit, man. I think those are dumb as hell. They've had some stupid ones. I like the old school block letter ones too. That you'll see them wear. You saw them last year in them. The 70s jerseys. Those block style numbers. A little different than what they currently have nowadays. But the block style numbers are definitely pretty cool. So I prefer those probably. Or as my favorite. Daniel Warman, why didn't Pittsburgh not sign Tyler Boyd? Thank you. I think I answered your question. I think that was you earlier, and I put it in the comments of that video also. The Steelers just weren't able to come to a deal with Tyler. Tyler was valuing himself way higher than what the Steelers were willing to part with. And I think once that drug on for a little bit, this is not saying this is definitively why this happened. I just feel that once that drug on, or kept dragging on, and the Steelers and Tyler Boyd weren't able to come to an agreement, I think that the Steelers just kind of said, hey, it is what it is. It's a wash. I'm done with it, and we're not going to explore it anymore. You do you go wherever you need to be. And make whatever you need to make. But we're done with it. We're moving on to other options. And I think that's where you started to see the signings of the Van Jeffersons and players like that the Steelers have high hopes for, that they think could possibly do some damage if healthy and given the right situation, to maybe get back onto the scene in the NFL a little bit and try to roll that way in a more economical, cheaper way than trying to go out there and do something with Tyler Boyd and spend money maybe on somebody that they don't particularly think fits. And that might be an issue also, guys. Maybe after they explored the contract with him, maybe they came to look at his tape and didn't think that he fit into the system that they were trying to put out there. That could be a possibility. But I think it was due to the money and due to the inability to even get close. I don't even think they were even close on what Tyler was asking for at that time. And I think that he ended up settling. Once the Steelers were out, I think it was too late for him, and he kind of went and just did what he got with the Titans. I think, $4 million? Something like that. So, yeah, and I think they were just out on the situation, man. No doubt about it. Yeah, George cost too much, yeah. And Omar Khan, and I've had some commenters too, and I can't remember them specifically, exact comments, but I've had several that talk about, Omar Khan, is he smart? The Steelers haven't been smart offensively, things of that nature. Are they going to be willing to start to spend money on the offensive side of the football? Or are they just far too cheap? They don't spend no money. I think that's a farce, too. I don't think that that's a fact in any way, shape, or form. I think that that's just how it goes. It naturally rotates because you're going to have older players on one side as you rebuild the other side of the ball. That's naturally going to be cheaper. It's just the way it goes. Now, I think in some instances you could say maybe they've skimped a little bit, maybe in the quarterback room, things of that nature, but you can't fault the Steelers for catching good deals either. So, who else were they going to get in that quarterback market? Honestly, who else were they going to be able to go out there and pay monster dollars to? Kirk Cousins? Does he fit what you want to do with Arthur Smith? And are you willing to give him $100 million guaranteed coming off an Achilles injury like the Atlanta Falcons did? I just don't think that that's practical. I think that doesn't make any sense. So why go out there and spend a shit ton of money on a guy that, you're not going to keep, you're not going to want probably the year after or whatever. I don't know, or after 2 years, $100 million. I don't think that's worth it either. But yeah, Sean, I agree. They should have probably kept Mason. That probably would have been it. I think what they should have did, and this is my opinion, and I know there's a lot of people that like Justin Fields. We've talked about his deficiencies ad nauseum. But in my personal opinion, what I think the Steelers should have did this offseason with the quarterback situation is, I love the addition of Russell Wilson. Why? Because you got him for 1.2. That's your safety valve. You now have a quarterback that can win Super Bowls, that has won a Super Bowl and played in a couple. So there's your safety valve. There's your guy. You got him cheap. Awesome. Do it. But I think you should have kept Mason Rudolph, and I agree with many of you, and exactly what Sean just said there, because why? I think Mason Rudolph was starting to blossom into the guy that you're looking for. I really do, and I have high hopes for him, and I wish him nothing but the best with the Tennessee Titans, unless he's playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then I hope he falls flat on his face. But otherwise, I hope Mason Rudolph has a fantastic career. I like him as a human being. I think he's a man of God. I like that. I think that he is a quality teammate. It seemed like people liked him around that locker room, that people supported him around that locker room, and they really shined and played for Mason when Mason came in. And it wasn't fake. It wasn't forced. It wasn't anything that you had to manufacture. It was natural. It was organic. And Mason came right in. It looked like the offense had been like that all season. It really did. And even in the playoff game, they were able to get things done. Yeah, Mason didn't drop some of those balls that were delivered. Yeah, and when you have receivers dropping some balls, fumbling some balls, things of that nature, you get off a rhythm, you get off pace. It's hard to get bounced back in those situations, especially in the playoffs, in a hostile environment with the Bills Mafia breathing down your neck, throwing snowballs at you and shit. Yeah, you got to be able to bounce back. And yes, Mason, I felt like did, throwing touchdown passes, getting the Steelers to within 7 points late in the ball game, but the defense wasn't able to dig deep enough enough and get that one last stop that they needed in order to make that, a possibility to where the Steelers could have maybe pulled that out. That game wasn't that big of a difference. I know it seemed like it, and it didn't seem like the Steelers were able to get anything going. But if you looked at how that game unfolded, they were still right there in the fourth quarter. And sometimes that's all you need is to just be close enough right there at the end, right there at the fourth quarter to where you can make that run, Tom Ford, I know the Steelers would never sign him, but I heard something about CeeDee Lamb being unhappy in Dallas. And by the way, the Bumblebee uniforms were great, in my opinion, with the black pants. I don't remember seeing him with the black pants. I always remember seeing him with the white pants or they were weird colored, you know what I mean? Or no, white. Yeah, I think it was white. I don't know, man. I've just never been on those, Tom. I thought they were dumb. That's just my opinion. And you know what's even dumber, dude? I don't know if you guys remember them with the big, steel factory type picture, the old Coke oven picture, I think it is. Or maybe it's an old block bridge or something, stone bridge, something. It had that picture, on the front. I didn't think that uniform was cool at all. But CeeDee Lamb, in my opinion, I don't think it happens. I think the Cowboys and Jerry Jones aren't stupid enough to let somebody of his caliber go. I think CeeDee Lamb can really be a serious factor for any offense. But I think CD has some of that diva bullshit going on also. His attitude probably sucks a little bit if you were just looking at it from the outside, man. It seems like he's not he just seems like the rest of them. But hey, that's neither here nor there. I just don't think it would happen. I don't know, though. That would be one of those ones that would really shock you if it did happen. You know what I mean? It'd be really unexpected. And definitely, it'd be nice. It'd be nice to have any of them, guys, honestly, Tom, when you were talking about CD. It'd be nice to have any big-name guy come in. I wouldn't be opposed to it at all. Not at all. But, man, I try to be a realist, too, and look at, the financial ramifications going down the road. How are they going to be able to adjust things? And it's okay to live for the now. I like to do that sometimes, too, myself. Live for the moment. Do what you got to do. Life's short. I understand it. And your window, if you're an NFL team, is open only for certain periods of time where you really got to strike while the iron's hot. And getting one of those guys may be the answer. It may be. I don't know. I just want to ride and see with what we got right now. But maybe CD being unhappy, maybe you do get him on a little bit of a discount. You never know. If somebody is unhappy, maybe they're willing to do one of those sign and trade type deals and come to your team and get that deal signed for maybe a little bit less because they just want it out. They know you spent high value and draft capital. Maybe they're willing to take a few million less to make it a little bit less of a burden on your financial situation, your salary cap. Maybe that's the case. I don't know, though. Yeah, Big Ben didn't seem to like him. Neither did KP, because KP knew he was better. I like the Bumblebee uniform simply because of how much everyone hated them. You like to be different. KC Jones, Under Armour is the ultimate dad brand. Well, you get me a deal from Under Armour. I'm down for it. I'll take it. I don't wear Under Armour all the time. I like the way their shirts fit, though. It's not a dad brand. I see lots of kids wearing Under Armour. Mars. No. TJ, what's up? CD will want too much of everything. Probably so, man. You know their attitudes, definitely. Actually, I believe they had a khaki, but I'd prefer black. Or khaki. Sorry. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? We were talking clothes. I forgot about it. We were talking uniforms, khaki pants, but I'd prefer black pants. Noah Strackbond says CD was asking for $32 million. I have no clue. And honestly, I hate to say it this way because I don't want to come off as a dick or anything because I'm not trying to be in any way, shape, or form. But when things are really unrealistic, I don't really look into them, to be honest with you. And I'm not trying to be an ass about it in any way, shape, or form. It's just like when things are very far-fetched, it's just kind of a waste of my time to look into it, And if it becomes more of a real possibility and it starts to gain steam, then I'll really dive into it and try to look at, how to break it down and how would it work and all those things. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't think that it's a realistic option. That's just my opinion. Sean says, I love Under Armour and I love being a dad. Me too. I love both. Thomas C. Steelers are back to the 90s or even the 80s. No long-term plan at the most important position in football, QB. Yeah, but honestly, we're not in that building. So there may be things in the works that we just don't know about. And maybe they do have a long-term plan. And if you look at what they've done, adding two guys on one-year deals, maybe they do have a plan in place, And I know that sounds weird and off the wall, like I don't know what I'm talking about, but we're not in that room. We don't hear those discussions. So, we all make plans in our lives all the time. And, people may not understand those plans. And from the outside looking in, they may seem wacky and not going to work. But, if you were in those conversations and you were in that room with the ownership group, with Omar, Andy, and Mike, and you were talking about these situations, maybe that plan makes perfect sense. But we're just not in there. So I won't say there's no plan in place because I hope that not to be the case. Because honestly, when you're dealing with a multi-billion-dollar operation such as the Steelers are, and you're dealing with a league such as the NFL, and you know that the quarterback is the most important position, I would hate to really think, guys, that the Steelers have no plan and they're just playing it on a whim. I would really hate for that to be the case. And if that is, shame on them, because that shouldn't be how they take and handle that situation. That would be really stupid of them. And I hope they're not that stupid, and I don't think they are. But again, sometimes you just, when we're on the outside looking in, we just don't fully understand the vision. We don't see it because we're not in those meetings and we're not able to talk about it. Steelers 06. I don't think the Steelers need another receiver. The receivers will look better this season with an actual quarterback and OC. Well, yes, definitely Steelers 06. I think Arthur Smith lifts the play slightly and is able to probably get more out of players than a guy like a Matt Canada was. You even saw Coach Sully, Mike Sullivan, whom now assumed another role inside of that offense, Eddie Faulkner, no longer with the ball club, how they were able to get a different product out of that offense with just different play on the field. And that was the same offense that they had been running all year, guys. Don't ever get that twisted like they came in and they made some drastic over the top changes, because they did not. There was not enough time to install a complete new system. They just called the play and set up the scheme probably and focused a little differently with real NFL quarterback play, and also a little bit different than Matt was handling it. Matt was getting involved in a lot of jet sweeps, a lot of behind the line bullshit, I felt like, which I feel like they still did toward the end of the season, but not nearly as much. And I felt like at the end of the season, they emphasized more of the run game, and I felt like the line was better as a whole, as a group. Behind Mason Rudolph, not having to guess where he is going to be, not needing to, play that Kenny Pickett type football or that Mitchell Trubisky type football. I felt like when you had an NFL quarterback there, it made the whole system better and was easier to game plan, no doubt. And I don't know. Was the quarterback play the major issue for Matt Canada? I don't think it was all of it. I think it had to do with some of it, but I think Matt Canada just wasn't an NFL style guy. I just don't think it worked, Maybe he's better, coaching a position or something like that at the NFL level. I don't know, but as a coordinator, I thought his game plans really, really sucked. Steve Kozak, we will get a legit playmaker at the wide receiver position when everyone has to cut their roster to 65. It happens every year. Teams have to part with a great player because of the cap issues. Steve, absolutely. That's going to be a factor, no doubt about it. And that does happen every year. And that is a possibility. And what kind of players will be available? That'll be a big, big question. But yes, usually there are some guys that are of high quality that are available due to that when they make those cuts and things start to transition as they whittle down their rosters and potentially, that team brought in a younger, cheaper option. And now all of a sudden they made a guy that was making big dollars way expendable or easily expendable. Certainly, that is definitely something that could happen. And Omar Khan and Andy Weidel, they may be waiting in the wings just to do that type of thing. That is definite possibility, and that's not far from now when those things start to happen. Steve Pickering, I really don't expect the Steelers to win a Super Bowl with Tomlin and Art. The second, Tomlin is mediocre and Art the second is cheap. They bragged about $500 million in revenue, but can't pay a wide receiver. Most fans make excuses for it. Dude, I find when people say that the Steelers are cheap, and I see what you're saying, maybe on facilities and things of that nature, but the Steelers spend against the salary cap just like every other team, you know what I mean? And they're behind the eight ball in the cap like every other team sometimes, and the most they do is keep, 7 million around or 5 million around to, break glass in case of emergency for an injured player or something like that. But it's hard to call them cheap whenever they spend against the cap, and that's what they're allotted to spend. Maybe there's something that I'm missing with that. I don't know. I could be wrong, but it's hard for me to think that they're cheap whenever you're looking at a team that spends up against the cap, just like every other team in the NFL. So that's what the salary cap's kind of for, to keep teams in the same kind of spending range, So I don't see how that makes them cheap if they spend against the cap. Steelers '06, and Eli Rogers type receiver can be made with a good quarterback play. Yeah, guys like that are definitely awesome, but you still have to have a lead dog, man. You definitely do. And we hope that George Pickens is that guy. He has the potential. He's shown it in glimpses, but he hasn't put together a full season of being like a number one type target. And is that the quarterback play? I think a lot has to do with that. Has a lot to do with George maybe getting in his own head sometimes. Some of that probably has to do with that also. So I definitely think that there's some variables that need to be worked out here and figured out in terms, is George Pickens going to be that guy down the road? I think so. I think George Pickens is a phenomenal wide receiver, and I think put in the right situation within the offense, I think he'll really, really shine. And if he's a guy that's going to eat up double teams all the time, sign him up. That's what you're looking for in a number one guy. You want that attention given to him because that frees up so much in your offense. If somebody's eating up double teams all the time, awesome. And if they stop doubling him, I believe he can make some big time moves and do some big time things in one-on-one situations. So definitely, hey, that's what I'm looking for inside of a wide receiver one. Hold on, guys. I'm going to hit my do not disturb. I don't want that to mess us up here. Under Armour is great, but Nike is superior. I like Nike too. I wear mostly Nike stuff. Yes, just do it. Casey Jones, if not Nike, then Adidas. I've never been a big Adidas fan. I like their sweatshirts sometimes. Thomas C., very rational take on QB spot. Thanks, Thomas. Thomas C., do you trust Mike Tomlin to develop a quarterback or a complete offensive unit? He was gifted, Ben, but now what? I don't trust him. That's the bad part. And I've seen him maybe stumble here and make some really poor decisions personnel-wise in terms of the quarterback position, even when Ben was here. I didn't like the way the organization handled that. And that was not preparing for life after Ben Roethlisberger when you knew that he was coming to the end of his career. But you did go out and get Mason Rudolph, who evidently you thought very highly of, but was never given a real true opportunity. But hey, yeah, I don't know. I'm not confident in him with the offense, and that's why I thought this offseason was so important. They didn't promote from within. They brought in an outside guy that was a former head coach in Arthur Smith. breathing in a style or bringing in a style of offense that I think the Steelers really want to be known for and really enjoy being known for over the years. That rough and tumble, that bruising type offense. I think that definitely the Steelers were looking for that, and they found it in Arthur Smith. And I think with Arthur, I think Mike Tomlin's going to look a lot better as a head coach because I think Arthur Smith is going to be able to get that offense moving. I think it'll get to a point to where the offense is averaging over 21 points a game for sure. I think so, at least in my mind. And I think Arthur Smith will be good for this defense too because he'll keep, hopefully, that time of possession in the Steelers' favor and really value that and really try to grind the football and be aggressive in that way and not try to leave the defense out there hanging out to dry all the time with 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, you know? What's up, Sleeper Sports Media? What's up, man? Everybody, you can go check out Sleeper Sports Media, hit subscribe, hit like, and all that stuff over on his stuff. We're going to try to get him on to come on and talk a little football with us, too. Steelers 06, I think Matt Canada should have stayed as a quarterback coach. I think Matt Canada being gone was a better situation than keeping him on. Maybe that is where he shines. Maybe that's where he does better. But I just think getting him out of the building after all that transpired throughout the time that he was with the Steelers, I think it was just more valuable to have him out of the building rather than trying to hold on to him. I think there was some tough situations going on there and some resentment from players. You heard Boswell talking shit to him before post-game after he was celebrating a win, telling him, it wasn't because of you. You didn't do shit. So those types of things definitely I think were an issue. Hold on, I got to drop some. But yeah, I think it was better for him to go. Steve Pickering, they could free up another $20 million to spend. You were missing it. They could, but why restructure things and push things down the road farther? You have to pay the piper somewhere, Steve. You have to pay it off somewhere. It doesn't just magically disappear. When you free up this cap space, you pay it somewhere. You're going to pay it. So you're not just, it's magically gone. We can free it up and now we have free money. That's not how it works. It's more complex and complicated than just saying you're cheap and not spending money. There's a monster process involved in this. There's so many rules, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know them all. But I know that just saying, let's extend people. Because let's be real about this. When you restructure, like they like to call it, these so-called restructures of contracts, all they are extensions. There's no such thing as a restructure. It's an extension. They just use the term restructure because they're renegotiating your contract in terms of years and money and shit like that they push it down the road. So you'll be responsible for that. And I understand what you're talking about. You could free that up. And yes, they have cap space available for next year. But why put yourself into a situation when you don't have to? And you can keep that crazy amount of money for 2025 and really be able to do some special things with that as opposed to, let's make a stupid decision now. I just don't think that makes any sense. And you have to look at the broader picture. And I'm not just beating you up over it because I'm not. I think you have valid arguments for sure. And I'm not saying you don't. But I'm just trying to say there is a bigger, broader picture to it. And there is a lot more that goes into it than just say free it up and just spend this. There's a lot more to it. And you see the teams that spend wastefully, they are waste. They're at the bottom of the league. They're at the bottom of their divisions. They don't win. Yes, they get a year or two here and there. They shine or something. I want long-term success. You know what I mean? That's what I'm aiming for. And I think the Steelers as an organization do understand that, and 6 Super Bowl championships to back that statement up prove that they like to be a long-term team, a team that builds through the draft, not necessarily going out there and overpaying free agents and shit like that, not necessarily going out there and making trades that don't make sense long-term. You have to be able to account for every damn situation, and that's the most important part of the whole thing. But the money just doesn't magically disappear because you freed up cap space. You're going to be committing to a player for a couple more years that maybe you don't want to commit to for a couple more years. You know what I mean? Those are the situations too. And again, I'm not going to pretend like I know the ins and outs of the cap and all the financial implications that can follow making a deal. I'm not going to pretend that I do know that, because I don't. I know some of it, and I feel very confident in saying that I think there are a lot of variables that some people don't take into account, and they just see the immediate, and they don't look at the bigger picture. And that's just where I'm at. So I'm not missing anything. I see what you're saying, but I'm definitely not missing it. I understand what you're saying when you're talking about free it up, because there are players on this roster, but there are some players that aren't even willing to renegotiate that type of shit. You heard Cam Hayward say he ain't restructuring shit. He isn't extending shit right now until they figure out some sort of new deal. So yeah, he didn't want to. He wasn't into that. Maybe I'm wrong there too, but I definitely think that the Steelers look more long term as opposed to the here and now. Let me get a drink, guys. Make sure you're hitting that like button for us as we're having some good conversations, man. And I appreciate you guys. Even if we don't agree, that's what this is for, guys. Never ever get never take bad feelings out of it, because this is what this is for. We talk about it back and forth. We talk about the team that we like to talk about, and we talk about the NFL, and we banter back and forth about it. And we all have differing opinions and differing ideas. That's what makes this special, man. And again, I'm never beating nobody up. I'm just talking and having conversation. That's all. Tom Ford, it looks to me that Mike Tomlin more or less pissed an elite quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, away. I hope he doesn't do the same with Russ and Justin. He may very well. I know Ben was dealing with some elbow pain, though, late in his career, Tom, toward that injury, from when that injury happened. And that was through Ben's own admission that he had a lot of sore arms and things of that nature. Also, Ben was getting to the point that he wasn't Ben Roethlisberger that he used to be, that guy that played backyard football, shaking off defenders, running around, letting guys work and get open, and hitting some just crazy backyard, drawn up in the dirt type football plays. He wasn't that way in the last, several years, the last 4 or 5 years. He was more of a guy that didn't want to be hit, that wanted to get the ball out quickly, which I admire, getting the ball out quickly. I think that is a good thing. But behind the line and screen game, that annoys me if you do that constantly. But I do like getting the ball out quickly, and statistics show that's what offenses do now. Quick, get it out, let your playmakers make plays. But Ben was definitely a different player. I definitely think that there were some wasted years there, no doubt. And was that partially Mike? I'm almost positive, Tom, that it probably was. But some of that has to fall on Ben's feet also. And some of that has to fall on the organization as a whole, Wave those emojis up. I love it. Sean says, I really like the fact that the media is so focused on the wide receiver issue in Pittsburgh. No one is talking about how dangerous the Steelers' defense is. Pittsburgh may have a top 5 defense in the NFL. Yeah, and I think the reason for that, Sean, is nowadays that, honestly, this is such an offense-driven league. Everything revolves around offense. Everything revolves around scoring and fantasy points and all those crazy things that, the NFL is today. And I think that's partially to blame why defense maybe gets overlooked a little bit. But definitely, this is an offensive-driven league, and defenses are a major role still, in my opinion, play a major part, no doubt about it. But definitely offense is the major focus, and I think maybe that's why they overlook it sometimes. All right, guys, let's get those likes up. Let's hit that like button. There should be 3 little white dots up in the right-hand corner of your screen. You can hit that, or you can back out of the live chat and just simply hit like, or hit like before you leave that way. But make sure you do that for us. It's free. It's easy. Also, become a Mafia member from Mike Drop Sports, 99 cents a month. Get yourself involved in all of that that's going on with the giveaways and things of that nature. Again, guys, training camp is rapidly approaching, so make sure you look out for us at training camp. We won't be like the other media people down there kissing ass and trying to be right on the field, holding microphones up to somebody's mouth. No, we're going to be out there mingling with the people, baby. We're going to be out there talking to people. If you want to talk to us and you see us, make sure you come over and say hello and have some good conversation about your Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers 06, I saw James Washington posting workout videos, and he said he's 100% healthy now. Any chance he gets on a NFL roster? I think there is a great possibility that he gets on an NFL roster, because I think teams understand that you can never have too many weapons on your team, and that is a reality. That is truth. So, yes, I think he gets a chance. Where that chance may be, I don't know. I love big game James. I thought he had some deficiencies, no doubt. I thought his route running was a little bit sketch. I thought he hit a great, or can run a great deep route, things of that nature. We'll see how the Achilles, hinders him and that aspect of his football game if he gets another chance. But definitely, I love big game James, baby. About Tomlin. Steve says, fans really don't understand the salary cap. It basically doesn't exist. You can restructure and do all kinds of other things. Just because they're close to the cap doesn't mean they can't spend more. Yes, and I understand that. And I always say that. And if you've watched this show for a while, Steve, you know I've said that the salary cap is a fictitious number. And I've said that. I understand that. But you still pay the piper somewhere, man. That money doesn't go away, and that isn't fictitious. That isn't the fictitious part. And when I say that it's fictitious, I mean that, yes, you can open up money. You can create cap space all the time. That is something you can do. But again, you have to pay it somewhere. It does not go away. You can only kick that can down the road so many times before the check comes due, or the bill comes due and you have to pay and write that check. Murph Dog 92 would never keep OC to quarterback coach. Too much bad blood. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it'd probably do more damage, Murph Dog, no doubt about it. What's up, Robert Rhodes? Saying there's no plan for quarterback is ridiculous. The Steelers will have a ton of money for the quarterback next year. They can re-sign Russ for 2 or 3 more years, or sign another free agent and draft a quarterback next year. Yeah, I agree, and I that's why I say I just don't know. I think there is a plan, and definitely I think there's something in place. I don't think the Steelers are too stupid to realize that you have to have some sort of plan going into it. Steelers 06, I wasn't saying that he should have stayed this year as a quarterback coach. I was saying he should have never got promoted from quarterback coach. Oh, okay, sorry, your comment read differently, sorry. But yeah, he should have never been promoted for anything, yeah, especially after seeing how he performed, no doubt about it. Steelers 06, having Russell Wilson on a vet minimum salary will come to an end, and the quarterback position will need paid next season. Yes, but it's a different situation. You're $104 million in available cap space next year, and that's not without any of the so-called, restructures, or anything like that you could do. Again, $104 million as opposed to what they had this year, under 30 at one point, or, whatever. I don't remember exactly how they've had it because it increased a little bit. They had a bunch of money left over. Yeah, it changed. You release players. The number changes all the time. But again, yeah, they're going to have $104 million now as we sit in 2025. So they definitely could do some different things, no doubt about it. Steve Pickering, the salary cap goes up every year, pushing money for today. Them paying it off over time is no different than a house loan. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm just saying that there's variables into it. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know more about it than anybody. I'm not going to sit here and act like that. But I do know that the money comes due. You got to pay it somewhere. And I think that if you're a team like the Steelers, you build through the draft. You don't go out and you don't make ridiculous trades, because they don't. And they don't go out there and make ridiculous free agency signings, because they don't. And history has shown that. And whether it's right or wrong in some of our eyes, I think that it's more probably toward the right, because I'm thinking to myself in a way They must know what they're doing over the time because they have 6 Super Bowl championships. So I'm going to trust their judgment on that kind of situation. Now, do they make the perfect move all the time? Absolutely not. No way. But as a whole, I'm going to say that they must know a little bit about football, considering what they've been able to do as a franchise throughout their history. So I definitely think they understand the salary cap way better than we do, and they understand player acquisitions probably better than we do in terms of contracts and things of that nature. Rubber road the Steelers under Colbert, kicked the can as far as money down the road too many times, and the Steelers were in cap hell way too many times. Khan will have to pay a quarterback next year, but he made room. Yeah, and when you do kick the can, that does happen. You create cap hell, and it does happen. And if you use the house loan reference that you used there a minute ago, Steve, yeah, but it's like adding interest to your home loan, and eventually that payment becomes far too much and you're over the cap and you're in cap hell. Yeah, so those things happen too. But again, guys, I'm going to do this for this channel. I'm going in search of, starting tonight or tomorrow, whenever, I'm going in search of somebody that is a real capologist type guy, a guy that really understands the salary cap. I'm going to find some people that's what they do, and I'm going to try to bring somebody like that on to talk about those types of things. I think that would be really interesting, and I think it would give a lot of insight to a lot of us, and including me, man. I would really enjoy hearing it and seeing what somebody has to say that really knows what the salary cap is all about, and we're not just, talking. I would love to see what somebody that's really, really smart with it has to say about it. Maximus Bacon, over or under on win total this year, 8.5. Over. I'd hit the over. I'd bet the over on that all day long. I don't think it will happen. 8.5 is far too low, in my opinion. Tom Ford, I think Ben pissed away some years too, and it started with his fights with Todd Haley and Ben wanting to run his own type of offense. I don't know what started it, but definitely he has to be responsible, and it falls at his feet also, man. And it's definitely a little bit of all of the factors, Tomlin, the organization, Ben. According to many, Ben was allowed to do whatever the hell he wanted to do in that building, say what he wanted to say, do what he wanted to do. So I don't know. Maybe we can talk to Ben and have Ben come on the channel. Wouldn't that be sick? Maybe he could tell us himself. I don't know what happened there, and I would be really curious to hear. Definitely. Danny George, what's up? The guy, James Washington would be perfect down the sideline with Mr. Unlimited. I like that nickname, though, Mr. Unlimited for Russ, man. I like that shit. That's sick. Yeah, big game James, baby. He might be somebody special, Wouldn't you like to see a prime Martavius Bryant with a guy like Russell Wilson that could throw that deep ball like that? A Martavius Bryant that would be ultra focused, ready to play football. That would be an interesting dynamic because he was good at the deep ball. Armand, big dead cap number. Check, you are right, Jason. Down the road. Yeah, I mean, hey, I think definitely you got to pay it somewhere. I don't know how that all works exactly. Again, I know enough about it to be dangerous. It maybe mess myself up sometimes. What's up, buddy? From Brent. How you holding up on this heat, man? Doing well. The family was out there. I think somebody was getting in the pool, one of the kids or something. So I might go out and hop my ass in there too. John Broadway. What about Mr. Mount Washington? I'm in love with Darnell. I definitely think big Darnell Washington, Mount Washington, I think could be a special player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I really, truly believe that. I've seen him and use his catch radius in different drills and different things of that nature while he's even been in the NFL throughout the combine, things of that nature, to where I really think that he could have some potentially big games if given the opportunity. And I think Arthur Smith sees that. I really, really do. I think he's smart enough to understand that. And I think the tight end group as a whole this year are going to be special. I really, really do. But I think Darnell Washington will be more involved in the pass game because I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are are going to come to the realization that when they do run those heavy sets, that the tight end group is talented enough to be able to throw out of those sets on a consistent basis and really keep defenses on their heels, in my opinion, because they're not going to really understand whether you're running or throwing. I think that's just the disguise the doctor's ordering. Very simple, very basic, but yet very, very good and very, very punishing to opposing defenses whenever they can't load up the box and be real comfortable with that because, hey, just because you're in a jumbo set, that doesn't mean you're not going to throw the football consistently and often. And I definitely think that they could do that with that tight end group. I think Connor Hayward could be a mismatch nightmare. I keep saying that, and I hope that ends up being correct and he gets the opportunities to show it because I definitely think he can. I think he can be a real problem, and I think Darnell Washington could be a real problem. But I like this tight end room. I like the way there's now a veteran presence really inserted in that, and McCole Pruitt. I definitely think, though, that this tight end room could be special in 2024. Brent, the cap may go down due to the lawsuit. I don't know about all that. Yeah, maybe, man. Never know. I don't think the cap will ever go down, in my opinion. I think the cap may stay the same. That you don't see maybe that yearly increase because of something like that. But I don't know if it would ever just stay the same. I'm not 1,000% sure. Tom Ford, I don't understand why Tomlin got a 3-year extension until he proves he can win games past the regular season. I think the Steelers are loyal to a fault, man. And honestly, it probably was a good thing to extend him because you can get rid of him wherever you want. It don't matter. But the stability. And when you brought Arthur Smith in on a 3-year deal himself, I think you want to provide those coaches, those new coaches, the new players coming in, especially with a guy like Mike Tomlin, who's, loved, beloved all throughout the league by players, by coaches. I think you wanted to provide that stability and not have a lame duck head coach on a 1-year deal when you have, other contracts on the coaching staff that exceed that. So maybe that's why they did it. I don't know. But definitely they are loyal, and they showed their loyalty yet again to one coach, Mike Tomlin. And that's even with not having a playoff win since 2016. Right or wrong, I don't know. But definitely I think he has to start doing something inside of the postseason, and it's a must, man. It's a definite must, and hopefully he can prove to get over that hump here and get out of this funk of no playoff wins. And I think it started this offseason when he started to change his ways by bringing in outside help like Arthur Smith, like Coach Azzani, people like that from outside of the organization that understand offense maybe in a little bit different way and are maybe more equipped to handle that than what Mike Tomlin had in place in the past or had in place with himself, maybe putting his thumbprint on it. D guy says he was thinking the same thing as Brent. That was from Tom. Miss Pittsburgh, what's up? Miss Pittsburgh in the hizzy. What's up? Good evening, my dear. Good to see you in the chat. Steve Pickering, I honestly think these teams sell off when they know they're building. Look at the Rams. They bought a Super Bowl, never really hit bottom after either. Yeah, there's so many different situations, man, but they didn't get back to, maybe those Super Bowl things or winning. I mean, I don't know. I can see what you're saying, definitely there. They did buy a Super Bowl. Yeah, that's a for sure thing, definitely. But you look at Matthew Stafford, he's definitely a franchise-type quarterback with that type of talent. Then you look at Sean McVay. I think he is one of the league's better coaches, no doubt about it. So maybe, they were able to just ride that storm out a little bit with those two guys being at the helm, really, and weathered the storm. Started to get some of their draft picks back. Started to bring players in. Cooper Kupp ended up being a really great player for them. Puka Nakua now with Atwood, those types of players in there. Just able to just reload the cupboard somehow, some way, and get it done. But I definitely think they bought one, no doubt. Wave that towel for Miss Pittsburgh Steelers '06 when Kevin Colbert retired from the GM. He said he possibly would be staying with the organization in a different role. Has he ever been in a different role with the team? I think what he is right now, or has been over the years since he has departed and retired. I think he's just kind of been a sounding board, a listening ear for somebody like Omar Khan. Maybe a guy that's just kind of like a consultant that they can bounce ideas off of. Let's not get it twisted. Kevin Colbert, over the years, was one of the league's best general managers. Not always titled general manager, though. The Steelers didn't have a general manager for a long time. They had like player operations guys, whatever title they gave them. But yeah, definitely Kevin Colbert was one of the league's best for many years. Yes, he's made some tremendous mistakes, but who hasn't? So definitely, I think that's what that he was being used for. That's where I think that he was. I don't think it was like an official position or anything. Maybe he did. None that I know of, though. Tom Ford, I like when Martavius Bryant did a flip at the end zone and caught the football. That was a sick catch, Tom. I remember that. Wasn't that against the Bengals? All right, guys, make sure you're hitting that like button for us here on Steel City Live, our daily live stream every single day. Tomorrow we won't have it. It's 4th of July. I plan on chilling all day, so we're not doing a live stream tomorrow. Look for us back on Friday, though. July 5th, we'll be ready to rock yet again with our last show of the week. WGGL, I haven't been catching up, but do you know the latest trades with Steelers except for Russell and Justin? There hasn't been much going on, WGGL. Nothing really to report. Nothing crazy. Yeah, nothing of significance, no. Red zone running. I think you'll see a lot of red zone running. I think you'll see a lot of different concepts, though, inside of the red zone now, John Broadway. I definitely think that this is going to be a more exotic team in terms of play calls and scheme inside of the 30, in my opinion. I think once you get inside of the 30, it becomes a different type of ball game offensively, and I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers will have a different game plan with Arthur Smith, no doubt about it. And I think they're going to utilize the talents of some of their players that maybe they haven't been utilizing before. Big targets like Pat, like Darnell, like a George Pickens. Those types of players. I think getting the running backs out on some routes also would prove to pay some big dividends. And I like, again, whenever you're able to be in those big jumbo heavy sets and not be predictable, I think that really works to your advantage, especially from the 30 in, man. I definitely think that could be something special that this offense is able to do. Steve says, I'd love to know who makes the final decisions on the draft. I guarantee it's not Tomlin. I think it's Andy, but Khan is still the boss, the money guy. I think, I would say probably Omar, Steve, in my opinion. Now, I don't know either, man. I'd love to know myself. I would say that Omar probably has the final say. I even think the ownership group's probably incorporated into some of those moves, no doubt about it. But I think it's more Andy Weidel, the scouting department, because Omar has said in the past, and this is through Omar's admission, that the draft is Andy's baby, and that Andy is the head of the draft process for your Pittsburgh Steelers, the head of the scouting department. Andy Weidel is that guy. I do know that for sure. But yeah, it's probably Omar has the veto power. Like you said, the money guy, the end-all, be-all. He probably is, man. No doubt about it. But I'm sure Andy Weidel and Mike Tomlin have some say in it, and I'm sure Andy Weidel has even a bigger say than any of them, like Mike Tomlin or any of the other people in the building. And then it goes to Omar probably to make that final call, but I'm not 1,000% sure. All right, guys, we're going to start winding her down here. But I want you to finish up, put any comments, questions, and concerns inside of the chat that you may have here for our final 7 minutes of the show here on Steel City Live, only on Mic Drop Sports. I'm Jason. As always, hit the shit out of that like button and make sure you're subscribing to the channel as we continue that march toward 5,000 subscribers. We are making good headway every single day. We gain new subs. And also, anybody that has joined the Mafia lately, I greatly appreciate that. I definitely appreciate it. I think it's really, truly awesome. But again, we got exciting things, and the season's rapidly approaching, and big things will happen here on the channel. And I'm hoping that the more we grow, the more we will be able to do in terms of maybe adding some shirts and hoodies and merch and things like that to represent the Mafia, Mic Drop Sports, all that kind of stuff. Maybe we do get together, maybe for a game or something, do some things like that. Cool shit. And I plan on trying to make it as fun as possible for everybody. So let's continue to make it better and better, man. You also, Sean, thank you, man. Yeah, you guys, I want you guys to, before we get off here, and I know it's not football related, but I want you guys to really be conscious this holiday. July 4th is tomorrow, but I want you guys to all realize this, and I'm sure a lot of you understand this because you're older like me. You understand what not to do. But if you're a younger guy out there, do not go and ruin your life by going out there and getting shit-faced drunk tomorrow on 4th of July. There will be cops everywhere, bro. Your chances of getting pulled over are great. Do not do it. Just get an Uber or something. Get somebody to give you a ride. Or better yet, get to where you're going and just stay where you're at. Don't go out there and destroy your life over one little stupid thing. Potential to kill somebody or something like that, or just get pulled over, man. And these cops ain't going to show you no mercy. So it's 4th of July. If you're drunk, you're going to get nailed to the cross, dude. So be safe with that. Also, if you're lighting fireworks off, don't be a dumbass, man. Don't do stupid shit with fireworks. They're dangerous as shit, man. And usually there's probably people watching you light these things off. So better yet, don't be stupid around other people with them, Don't be like Jason Pierre-Paul and blow your fucking hand off, Don't be dumb. But I want to wish you guys, though, a happy and healthy and safe Independence Day. And remember, hey, man, it's great to live in this country, and we have a lot of liberties and a lot of cool shit here in this world, or in this country. So definitely remember why we celebrate the day and what it means, and definitely stay safe out there. I'm going to start wrapping it up here. We've been on 56 minutes, so... Tom, this has got to be the best YouTube channel I've been on. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for always joining the conversation, too, guys. I appreciate that. George T., have a great 4th tomorrow. Stay safe. Robert Road, the local highway is overrun with flatlanders here in the mountains. I am staying home. Yeah, Robert, stay home. Enjoy your family. I know you're on like the super restricted diet right now, but maybe break that for a day. Get yourself some grub, baby, on Independence Day. Thank you, Miss Pittsburgh. Yeah, the Flatlanders need to stay out, man. Stay away from them people. Amateur drinking nights is what I call them. 4th of July, New Year's Eve, those types of holidays. Those are amateur drinkers. Amateur drinking night. But anyway, guys, make sure you have a safe and happy holiday as I'll see you all back here on Friday for another episode of Steel City Live. And I am going to do a daily upload tomorrow morning. That way, I didn't do one today. I've been lazy with it as much, since it's been a dry news period. But I'm going to do one for the 4th of July tomorrow. So we'll have that to listen and have fun with. But we will do our next live show on Friday. And have a great time, man. We'll see you all then. So peace, guys. Thank you for joining me.